Guys, this is finally some bombshell news that we have been waiting for a long time since Trump has taken presidency. Why? Because we knew that it was happening to Trump and we needed to get justice for the American people. Guys, this is huge. The DOJ is now going after almost everyone that targeted Trump in the last 4 years. This is big, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. But Letitia James, Jack Smith, Fonnie Willis, these district attorneys, attorney generals who literally tried to use lawfare against Trump are now being sued by the DOJ. Lawsuits are being brought. Charges are being brought against these individuals for fraud allegations of using taxpayer money or using their position for personal gain. And they said, this is Pam Bondi, guys. This is our attorney general. Pam Bondi said this is only the beginning. They said it's not lawfare. We are exposing what they were trying to cover up. Isn't that interesting that the people trying to make up crimes against Trump, where Trump, they literally didn't even commit these crimes, but now they have been caught with these horrendous crimes against them. And it doesn't even stop there. They're literally throwing out the lawsuits. Finally, guys, we want to see some people held accountable. On top of that, Attorney General Pam Bondi has just announced another civil lawsuit against the Department of Education in Maine for allowing men in women's sports. Keep the lawsuits coming. You want to know why, guys? I'm about to drop some bombshell news right here. We are fighting fire with fire. The federal judge has told Trump and his administration, cancel your vacations for the next 2 weeks. I hope you're sitting down on this one. He said, we are giving the Trump administration 2 weeks to prove they aren't in contempt of court. They are actively trying to put Trump's administration in jail. And so now they've given them an order of stay. They cannot leave the country. They cannot go anywhere for 2 weeks. Guys, is this not lawfare against lawfare? We've got these federal district court judges that are trying to control a sitting president and his cabinet. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. We're going to show you all the receipts in a moment, but it is blowing my mind that we are experiencing this in the United States of America. But Trump, it isn't stopping Trump. Trump has now designated Secretary Doug Burgum to transfer administrative jurisdiction of nearly 110,000 acres of federal land for the next 3 years along the U.S.-Mexico border over to the U.S. Army. The White House says that they will give the military the authority to detain any illegal immigrants that try and cross, as they would be then trespassing on military-owned land. We're up against some real enemies here. We need to make sure the border is secure, is what Doug Burgum said. Guys, I'm telling you, they're putting all the chess pieces in place, but they are literally threatening Trump's administration with jail time, prison time, to be held in contempt of court. That's what they did to Steve Bannon. That's what they did to Navarro. Guys, they're trying to bring it back. But now we've got Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is throwing the lawsuits back at a lot of these people. So we've got some tough stuff to get into today. I want to say thank you to everybody that is watching, to all of our subscribers, guys. Thank you so much for your support. We are truly grateful. And if you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want you here. We want to serve you guys. It means the world to us that you even watch us. To those that are not subscribed, we just want to make sure you get the truth. I want to say thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel, and thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation, guys. We're so thankful that you partner with us to give back to local charities. Remember, on the 22nd of every month, we're giving back to a local charity tens of thousands of dollars with your support live on stream. If you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, we really appreciate your support, guys. We've got some deep stuff to get into, but we got the receipts, because no matter what, Trump is making America great again, and not just in English. He's about to do it in Spanish too, guys. Check this out.
Spanish class is in session.
Mr. President, I'd like to teach you how to say let's make America great again in Spanish. So, vamos a hacer América grande otra vez.
America grande otra vez.
Excelente.
Sources tell Primetime Trump's learning how to say you're deported in Spanish, too. Estás deportado. And Democrats are saying no más.
The constitutional crisis is here. In that meeting in the White House, Donald Trump essentially told the Supreme Court to pound sand. Because far from what he says is what he doesn't say. And that is nowhere in that entire meeting does the President of the United States
guys.
ask the President of El Salvador to return the man wrongly sent to a maximum security prison in his country. It just never happens. The President has taken a very determined step towards dictatorship.
Wow.
Does it feel like a constitutional crisis? An illegal alien gangbanger from El Salvador is back in El Salvador. After all the times they've declared constitutional crisis, this one's got to be the weirdest. If deporting gangbangers makes you a dictator, then I'm all in. They're now saying we shouldn't arrest gangbangers. The people who deport gangbangers, they should be arrested.
Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, and Tom Homan, the head of ICE, must be arrested immediately for contempt of court. They're defying court orders to return Mr. Abrego Garcia from captivity and torture in El Salvador. It is time to teach the Trump administration a lesson.
Was Keith in a
told you
straitjacket?
guys.
That was hard to say.
I told you guys they're literally trying to go after Trump and his administration with, making stuff up, guys. That's where we're at right now in America. That the Democrats are so hell-bent on trying to stop Trump's just agenda in every single way possible. And what's messed up, they're fighting so hard for this illegal immigrant. This person who is part of a gang, MS-13, but yet they didn't fight not one bit for the people who lost their lives because of illegal immigrants. Let me know your thoughts in the comments in the chat, guys. These people, I'm telling you, it's pathetic.
Democrats charged Trump with 91 counts. He beat the rap, got elected, and deported an illegal to where he was born. Something almost all Americans want. But Democrats, and this is why they lost, want to charge Trump with another crime, kidnapping.
I think the attorney generals play a really important role right now. I think it's only a matter of time before one of them figures out how to file state kidnapping charges against those that are abducting people who are in this country legally and sending them to this new concentration camp that Donald Trump laughs about having created in El Salvador. Attorney generals are going to play a critically important role in these days ahead fighting this fascist moment in American history.
Just as Democrats can turn a man into a woman, they can turn deporting into kidnapping, just like that. And Senator Van Halen from Maryland is flying to El Salvador tomorrow to break the gangbanger out of jail.
So you've got a Maryland man who's the father of three, illegally detained in a notorious prison in El Salvador. I do intend to go to El Salvador to discuss the release of this individual who is illegally detained in El Salvador. It is absolutely unjust and illegal to have this Marylander detained one more day in a notorious prison in El Salvador.
He's a Marylander?
Wow.
Since when? If I break into Mexico, am I a Mexicano? No. Maryland mom, Rachel Morin, was raped and murdered by an MS-13 member from El Salvador. And Senator Van Halen is trying to spring a member from the same gang out of prison. Trump's getting gangbangers out of Maryland, and Maryland politicians are trying to fly him back in. And late night hosts are now calling illegals Americans.
One of the inmates currently in that prison is a Maryland man legally working here in the United States, married to an American citizen with American children. His name is Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and he was kidnapped by ICE and rendered to the torture prison because one of Trump's own lawyers have admitted was an administrative error. Trump's folks are trying to whoops-a-daisy a human rights violation. It's like when Hitler came out with, "Mein bad."
Democrats are really going to bat for MS-13. First Tesla terrorist, then China.
Guys, let me tell you this. The Democrats are on the wrong side of history right now. It blows my mind how they can blatantly Did that co-host, what was his name? Brett Baer? I can't even, not Brett Baer, but whatever that guy's name was. Did he ever talk about Lake and Riley? Did he ever talk about Jocelyn Nungary? Did he ever talk about them? What about that lady who was a mother of 5 that was killed by an MS-13 gang member? You never heard their names out of those people, not once. But yet, this shows you, guys, there are some people in the Democratic Party that are just evil. They are just plain wrong. But if you appreciate the exposure of this, guys, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, it makes me sick that we have to that we show you this stuff. But I'm telling you, common sense is going to win out with some stuff I got to show you in a moment.
Then Syrian immigrants who hate Jews, and now MS-13. Now, if you're MS-13, you're just trying to live the American dream.
We've been following the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Undocumented migrant from El Salvador, married an American woman, has a kid, living the American...
Did you hear what he said? Undocumented immigrant. They don't say illegal anymore. They say undocumented immigrant. No, he was an illegal from El Salvador.
Dream. Until the Trump administration sent him to an El Salvadorian mega prison.
Well, what is the American dream? Kilmore breaks into the country, gets pulled over all the time, skips every hearing, associates with high-ranking gangsters, gets his whole arm tatted up, gets an American woman pregnant, doesn't propose, only marries her after he gets arrested because his lawyers say it would look better to have roots in the community. A judge holds him and says he's a flight risk and a danger to the community. And a confidential informant tells the cops, the gang unit, that he's MS-13. And then a second judge upholds that he's MS-13. But CNN says he's just a Bulls fan.
According to court documents, Garcia and 3 other men were arrested in 2019. He was asked if he was a gang member. He said no. Garcia had been deemed a gang member by the Prince George's County Police Department in part because he was at the time wearing a Chicago Bulls hat and a hoodie.
Garcia's a Bulls fan?
Wow.
But he's from El Salvador, and he lives in Maryland, not Chicago. The Bulls lost 60 games in 2019, so why the hat? Can Garcia name anyone on the team? Anyone on any Bulls team besides Jordan? Everyone from El Salvador knows what it means when you wear a Bulls hat. It means you're MS-13. When you're in Compton, you don't accidentally wear red and say, oh, I didn't know red was Bloods. If you're a Latin American illegal alien in Maryland, you don't accidentally wear Chicago Bulls gear and hang around with high-ranking gangsters from MS-13. This is the reason he had to break into the country. Are you ready? A local gang in El Salvador was shaking down his grandma's tortilla shop. And his lawyers say if he gets sent back to El Salvador, he's a dead man. It's a tortilla blood vendetta. Seriously. So who are Garcia's attorneys who managed to get their client a hearing in the Supreme Court? Trump's deporting tens of thousands of illegals, and this is the only case that's gone this far. These lawyers must be good. Who are they? Well, they are good. They're the best lawyers dirty money can buy. The firms repped gang members like Aaron Hernandez and Bobby Shmurda. Aaron Hernandez was Bloods. Bobby Shmurda was GS9 out of Brooklyn. The firm also represented members of the Rosenthal Hidalgo family, traffickers in business with the cartels. And these well-paid defense attorneys took the Garcia case. But he's definitely not MS-13. These lawyers are really making him into an innocent Maryland dad in the media, and the media is drinking the Kool-Aid.
He's an illegal immigrant. Okay. He was here illegally with deportation orders in 2019. What part of that do you not understand?
I understand the story very well, and I'm going to stop going back and forth with you on this, but I will say, again, he had every right to be in this country. Is there any scenario under which...
Are you kidding me? I understand he's an illegal immigrant. I understand that he didn't come here the right way. But he has every right to be here in this country. Guys, are these people delusional? What are we dealing with? Like, I'm not joking. I don't even know how to be empathetic in their perspective, because to me, when you know somebody's here illegally, when you know somebody here is been a part of an MS-13 gang, regardless, Trump is not treating anybody different if you're here illegally, regardless if you were an MS-13 gang or not. You're here illegally, you're leaving. But this right here, you cannot make this stuff up, guys. Please, put it in the comment section, put it in the chat. Let me know. This is just, I can't even understand this, guys. This is insane.
God, he was an illegal immigrant.
We're going to move on
serious?
this.
No, I will not let you go forward.
Okay.
He was an illegal alien in this country with a deportation order in 2019. He is an El Salvadorian citizen.
How'd the media go from the border secure to MS-13 has every right to be in this country? This is a new low, even for them.
I'm not sure what is so difficult about this for everyone in the media to understand, and it's appalling, truly appalling, that there has been so much time covering this alleged human trafficker and this gang member, MS-13 gang member. It's truly striking to me.
Democrats just lost in a landslide because they let illegal gangbangers into the country, and they're still fighting for illegal gangbangers to come into the country. Even CNN agrees he's never coming back.
You don't think this man is coming back?
I don't.
Let me tell you this, guys, because I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. We don't do personal attacks on our chat. We have a good, clean chat. We don't personally attack anybody. You can talk about politics in any way that you want. But when you attack me or you attack anybody in the chat, you get blocked. We do not do that on this chat. So guess what? Schwerbelwit, you're blocked.
Think he's coming back basically
Ever. Garcia's gang lawyers were in court today, begging an Obama judge to make Kristi Noem fly a gangster back to America. The Supreme Court even said these judges are out of line.
Look, they're working within the ambiguity that the Supreme Court justices gave them. They did not order the administration to return him to the United States. They said that they need to facilitate this return. They could have said, we order him returned, but they didn't do that. Yes, it does look a little bit like a semantic game, but they are playing within the bounds of what the Supreme Court ruled. So no, they are not defying this order.
James Carville, a man famous for saying it's the economy, stupid, is telling Democrats, don't talk about the economy. Fight for the rights of illegal aliens.
Sometimes you gotta on two fronts, and you can fight on the economic front, but also this is such an egregious trespass of justice that you just can't say, well, we'll just repair to the higher ground and talk about egg prices and forget about this guy. Well, I'm not for that. I think what's happened here is a really offense against the nation. It's an offense against the Constitution. It's an offense against order. You just can't let this go.
Guys, let me tell you this. You want to talk about order? You want to talk about justice? Well, check this out. You remember a lady named Attorney General of New York by the name of Letitia James, who literally posted on X and said Donald Trump lied about his net worth on his statements of financial condition to get loans for much better terms than he should have. Well, guess what? Now she is being probed by the DOJ, is not facing one, but two massive career-ending criminal accusations. Number one, falsely claiming a Virginia home as a primary residence, mortgage fraud. Number two, living there while serving as New York Attorney General, that's election fraud and disqualifies her from serving as Attorney General. She is done. Guys, we are done with this lawfare. I'm so tired of seeing all these people trying to go against Trump just because they don't like his politics and using lawfare against him. And you know what? I love it that we're actually using the rule of law against them, and we're not having to make it up. But I'm telling you guys, this is breaking right now. Rogue activist Judge Boasberg says Trump officials, remember I told you he's trying to hold him in contempt and put him in jail, could face contempt charges for refusing to turn criminal alien deportation planes around mid-flight. He's given them a 2-week stay. and said that they have to prove they were not in contempt of court. Guys, we are fighting fire with fire. We're going to see who has the bigger stick, but I'm telling you, this is getting deep. If you appreciate this, though, the truth, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, and guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I am sick and tired. I want America to win, and I'm sick and tired of people using the law to try to get back at people and making stuff up. Check this out.
Strategically, what the Democrats are doing is they're focused on where they think they have traction, and that is in the courts, and continue to come after President Trump, the courts, and now this kind of constitutional crisis where you send these terrorists, this group has been designated a terrorist group, you send these people down to Central America. In fact, this guy's in El Salvador, and you send him to a prison, and this is all the Democratic Party all day long is making a huge deal about. Fine, make your deal, make a big deal about that. Focus on that. We want you focus on that. If that's the constitutional crisis you want, hey, you got it. Go ahead, focus on that. That's a 90-10 issue of the American people. And all this yammering about these very dangerous criminals that have terrorized American citizens, working class Hispanics, and particularly working class African Americans, that have terrorized them, being shipped out of the country because they're illegal aliens, invaders, and you're getting in the middle of President Trump's constitutional mandate in Article 2 of being commander-in-chief. This is back to the unitary executive theory, or as the War and Policy informs me all the time, it just his Article 2 powers. So that's their play. The bigger and the more profound, because that's just yammering at Trump's heels. And they have 150 suits today. Now they're suing about his tariffs, his economic repositioning of the commercial relationships of the United States to the world. You've got Gavin Newsom, who is running in 2028. Gavin Newsom's now suing the president from the state of California as the governor, coming against the tariffs, right? In this, and this is why we have to get messaging sharper. There's a great tweet out today from, was it Walter Bloomberg, that talks about some messaging that happened this morning that was quite off message, where we put out that the Chinese, do we have the Walter Bloomberg? Can we put that up in Denver? Because I don't really have it in front of me. We're dealing with so much stuff now. Is that you have, they said up to 245% tariffs. Well, that was adding, the 145
this
and what's already there for the 20, and it's very confusing. I think the White House had to be very specific and should be putting out talking points every day. And Navarro and these guys have to come out, because right now, this is not about tariffs and not about trade. It's much deeper. We're engaged in now economic war with the Chinese Communist Party. This is, Captain Fennell says, keep the main thing the main thing. This is the main thing. We just can't go in with the meat axe and cut Medicaid. You got to be very smart about this. Why? As I've been saying for a long time, just look at it. There's a ton of MAGA, of working class folks, Hispanic, black, and whites, that are on Medicaid, that are working, not sitting there gaming the system, not asking for a handout. Why? Because the jobs don't pay enough. Why don't the jobs not pay enough? Oh, let me go back to the trade deficit. The reason this has happened is not astrophysics, and it's not a natural law of the universe, of property. It's not the second law of thermodynamics that made this, had to happen. If you listen to Paul Ryan, if you listen to all these Republicans for years who were controlled opposition, who made money and got us in this situation because they didn't stop.
Guys, again, key word, controlled opposition. I've been getting into this so much, guys, but I never realized how powerful that was. That you literally have Democrats and billionaires on the other side who are paying people to say they're Republican, say they're MAGA, and then I've got some to show you too, because they just found out a person who was leaking evidence, who was part of Pete Hex's team in leaking evidence and all kinds of internal notes to the other side. Guys, it's bad. We've got some dang rhinos and some people that need to be in jail right now for all this essentially treasonous acts.
the oligarchs and the elites from doing this, and they were an active party to it, you would think it's just a natural property. But this is the free trade. This is how it works. No, it's a mercantilist system. It's what Adam Smith actually warned us about. It's what the Patriots, we're leading up. What is Saturday? Saturday is the 250th. What, a quarter of a millennia? 250th anniversary of our Patriots have finally had a belly full of it, the handful of them.
Wow.
Against an empire. And what was that empire against? A worthless landed aristocracy that had corrupted commons, just like the House of Representatives and Congress is corrupted. They bought and paid for them in a day. Why is Harvard? Why is Harvard? Why Columbia? Why are they all collapsing? The $9 billion of your money at the public trough that their snouts right in. Hell, Harvard's got a $52 billion endowment. Why don't you use that? Can't touch that. Got that government money. You've been played for a sucker and you've been played for a sap.
Dang.
The entire system rests on your shoulders. You are the full faith and credit of this government, not the SEC, not the Federal Reserve, not this group of scum up there, right? The sociopathic overlords on Wall Street. You think they give a damn about this country? You think you give a damn about its citizens? You think you give a damn about what happened in Lexington and Concord 250 years ago? They were the guys on the other side. They were the city of London, the Wall Street at the time, financing the empire against the colonist. That was the little guy standing up and say, hey, go F yourself. You're going to have to come and take it. Do we have that balls and guts today? That is the only question that matters.
And that's what Trump and Elon Musk have, guys, because I'm telling you, if we don't stand up right now, we may never have another chance again. And when it comes to standing up to all these people that have wrongfully ripped off the United States, that are putting, look at this, guys, top advisor to Pete Hegseth escorted out of Pentagon for alleged leaking. They're putting moles in place. They're putting just people that are downright ready to manipulate, deceive, trying to hurt the Trump agenda, guys. That's where we're at right now. They're not holding back. They have no filter. But what I love, guys, is what I'm about to show you next is so powerful. It is a movement right now like never before that everybody is starting to say, dang, you know what? I'm okay with being MAGA. Let me know in the chat, in the comments. Are you MAGA? Are you Make America Great Again? Because I'll tell you this, Republicans, that's going out the door. They may say that for the party, but people now more than ever are saying, you know what? I don't care if I'm Democrat or Republican. I am now MAGA. Check this out.
What about Trump voters? How do they feel about all this? One man can answer that question. He just happens to be the one man standing beside me right now, CNN Chief Data Analyst Harry Enton. Let's talk about Trump voters and how they feel. Do they regret their vote?
I mean, this is the big question, right? I hear all these stories, all these articles. All the Trump voters, they regret what they did back in 2024. I'm here to tell you, very few of them regret what they did back in 2024. What are we talking about? Trump voters looking back at 2024. We got a new poll out. The poll was conducted this month. What percentage would change their vote to a different candidate? We're talking just 2%, just 2%. That's not even a wide spot on the road. And then there's this additional 1% who say they would rather not vote. We're talking overall under 5% might or would have changed their vote, Donald Trump voters back in 2024. And then you ask, okay, the same question to Kamala Harris voters, and it turns out the numbers are rather similar. So if there was a repeat, if folks got to be able to redo their vote that they had back in 2024, would the result be any different? I doubt it would be. I doubt it would be, or it would still be extremely close. The bottom line is, for all this talk of Trump voters regretting their vote, in the numbers, it really just doesn't show up, John.
So the stickiness with Trump voters and President...
Guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, that's what I'm talking about. Mary Busby, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said, these Dems waste our tax dollars on frivolous cases against President Trump and in his administration. Let's go. Y'all show Mary some love in the chat.
Trump in this presidency. How does it compare to his first presidency?
Yeah, okay. So, I was interested in sort of a historical analogy here, sort of, does this look similar or different from back in 2017, looking at 2016? Well, in February of 2017, 4% of Trump voters say they'd shift their vote. That's actually slightly more than the 3% this time around. So, you look back, you say, okay, there's these Trump voters who really regret their vote. Historically speaking, they really don't regret their vote. And if anything, the number this time around is actually smaller than it was the first time around. And it's certainly smaller than the number we saw coming out of 2020, of course, after the events of January 6th. So the bottom line is this. If there's some idea out there that Trump voters are going around, man, I wish I had voted for Kamala Harris instead of Donald Trump, the numbers say that is a fanciful universe. It really, for the most part, does not exist.
Let's go. Republican brand.
Guys, and this is on CNN, guys. This is on CNN. It's not Fox. That's why I love to show you that everything out there is saying common sense, MAGA, baby.
In general, any evidence that people are, leaving that brand faster than they're leaving the Democrats?
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday we spoke about Trump's approval rating, right? But it's very important to note, nothing cannot be nothing. That is, when you put two folks together or two folks against each other, the results might look different than just looking at one of them. And on this particular measure, which I think is so important, because what we saw in 2024 was Republicans getting a rare lead on party identification. It was a 1-point lead according to Gallup. Look at where it was in an average of Gallup polls so far this year, plus 2 points for Republicans. If anything, the Republican brand has actually perhaps gotten a smidgen stronger, though these are within the margin of error. Very different from 2017, when Democrats held a 5-point advantage. And I'll finally note, this looks very much like the generic ballot trend, which in 2025 looks an awful bit like November of 2024, when Republicans, of course, won and held the House.
We will see if these trends continue, but they are very interesting at this moment. Harriet, thank you so much.
Guys, I love it, guys.
Voters? How do they...
Because guess what? We got it even better, guys. The MAGA is growing. And it's, again, remember, it's not just Republicans. It's not just Democrat, guys. This is just MAGA. Bruce McMillan, welcome to the family. Let's go. Y'all show Bruce some love in the chat. Check this out.
To NBC News, there is a growing number of voters who are identifying with the MAGA movement. From January 2024, it was 20%. March 2025, it is 36%. So we're actually seeing the country kind of moving in these opposite directions. Lots of fire and energy on the left, but on the right, more and more Americans are comfortable saying, I'm MAGA.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think a lot of people, a lot of Republicans used to think of themselves as just, average Republicans, and they've really come to respect and appreciate what Donald Trump is doing. I think the immigration issue alone is causing a lot of people to feel closer to Donald Trump than maybe they ever felt before. So I'm not surprised by that finding. I referenced it earlier, but there's also other polling. Very young people, 18 to 21, are feeling more conservative, even as 21 to 24 are feeling less. There was a bit of a split in that generation, but you can see people flowing in different ways here, and it's quite interesting. I actually think the common thread among it all is if you perceive authenticity out of a politician, you tend to gravitate towards them. That's why Trump is popular. I think it's why AOC is popular too. She doesn't appear to be a scripted puppet, neither does Trump, and you can see the crowds they draw.
Guys, I'm telling you, people are moving towards Trump. And what I love is that it's all about the common sense. It's all about the common sense, and that's what we want to bring. Is when are we going to actually get to a world where we all are living in the same reality? Because what I'm about to show you guys, I hope you're sitting down, because you probably never thought this would actually happen. A UK Supreme Court rules transgender women does not fit the legal term women in landmark decision. So they finally are admitting, guess what? If you're a man and you want to be a woman and you're an adult, you do you, but stay away from the kids, but you're not a woman, okay? It is what it is. Well, now the Supreme Courts are now ruling that because it's become such a big issue. Guys, common sense, baby. That's what we want. Celestino Marina, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Celestino some love in the chat. We are moving forward, and I love it. Guys, listen to this.
Let's bring in on that Republican Louisiana Senator John Kennedy. He serves on several committees, including the Judiciary Committee. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. I want to immediately get your thoughts on this, as we've got this brand new sound from President Trump, who is sitting down with Rachel Campos Duffy at 4 o'clock Eastern time on the Fox Spanish channel. And he said this on that. Listen.
Could we use it for violent criminals, our own violent criminals?
I call them homegrown criminals.
Yes.
I mean, the
homegrowns.
The ones that grew up and
Yep.
something went wrong and they hit people over the head with a baseball bat. We have, and push people into subways just before the train gets there, like you see happening sometimes. We are looking into it and we want to do it. I would love to do that.
Well, Senator Kennedy, you are a smart legal mind. Do you have any problem with that?
No, none. I think the president's right. If you're in our country illegally, you're a criminal. Illegal immigration is illegal, duh. And I think there are plenty of laws which President Biden ignored that allow us to deport you. I mean, to me, it's just straightforward. And people who oppose that approach, it seems to me, are not being intellectually honest. They just ought to go ahead and admit they support open borders.
Senator, I want to get your reaction to this federal judge in Boston, her ruling on this controversial mass parole program here. Call for number 2. These are the numbers. So more than 500,000 migrants from these 4 countries were flown into the U.S. under President Biden. He essentially used his executive authority, waved a magic wand, and allowed all these people to come into the country. Now, President Trump comes into office. He tries to use that exact same executive authority to take their parole grants away, and a judge is saying no. Your thoughts?
Well, the judge is wrong. He or she obviously doesn't know a law book from a J. Crew catalog. I believe this judge issued a national injunction. In my judgment, those are illegal. A national injunction is when 2 parties go to court, plaintiff and defendant, and the federal judge issues a ruling, but it doesn't just apply to those 2 parties in court. It applies to the whole country. Now, there's no basis in statutory law for that. There's no basis in Supreme Court precedent for that. There's no basis in English common law for that, on which our justice system is based. The Supreme Court could fix it, and I hope it does quickly.
Yes.
We have a bill in Congress proposed in the Senate by Senator Grassley to make it very clear that national injunctions are an abuse of authority. It's a fairly new phenomenon. Federal judges didn't do this for most of the 20th century. There were only 27 national injunctions. But it started under, in the 21st century, 67% of the national injunctions that have been issued against President Trump. And none of the judges have explained why all of a sudden they got up one morning and ate their judge's breakfast and went to the courthouse and started using national injunctions on which there's no basis, with respect to which there's no basis on Article 3 of the Constitution.
Okay, so Senator, could I circle back there to what we heard from the president? And I heard you say if they're here illegally. I think the point that he's being challenged on and is likely to come up in the White House press briefing room there is whether or not you agree with the president's suggestion of sending U.S.-born, U.S. citizens accused and who have committed crimes to notorious prisons like the one in El Salvador.
You mean sending them to foreign countries?
Yes.
No, I don't agree with that.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to another big topic that's going to come up with the White House press briefing room, and that is going to be China. And the heat is definitely turning up on tariffs. This is the Treasury Secretary, Senator, on working to get the first trade deal through. This was a Bloomberg podcast yesterday. Listen.
I think there will be advantage to our allies, especially, and a first mover advantage. Usually the first person who makes the deal gets the best deal. So
who do you think will be first?
It's their choice.
So your thoughts on where this goes next and how important it is to get that deal through?
It's undeniable that many foreign countries have used trade barriers, tariffs, to take advantage of the American people and cost us jobs. President Trump has called their hand. He has raised our tariffs and said, I want reciprocal tariffs. If you raise yours, I'll raise mine. But if you, foreign country, will lower yours, I will lower
mine.
Ours. It's called a reciprocal tariff, and I agree with it. It's also undeniable, in my opinion, that none of these foreign countries would be coming to the table but for what President Trump did.
Yes.
Now, the narrative among some members of the legacy media is that President Trump has, how can I put it, he's gone disco and he doesn't really have a rationale or a plan because he's not talking about it. I don't have any inside knowledge, but I believe that he's not talking about it because he's in the middle of negotiations. The worst actor is China.
Yes.
We, with our help, China was admitted to the WTO, the World Trade Organization, on December 11th, 2001. China started cheating December the 12th. And we need, figuratively speaking, we need to call their hand and slap them to Pluto until they start abiding by fair trading rules. It won't be easy, but China will ultimately have no choice. China's economy is on a journey to the center of the earth. They buy 5 times more stuff, we buy 5 times more stuff from them than they sell to us, and they're an export economy, so they're going to have to come to the table at some point.
All right,
Guys,
Senator.
let me tell you this. You want to know how you know that the United States is moving in the right direction, guys? What I get to show you right here on screen, guys. This is amazing. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, thank you so much for your support. So right now, the Trump administration has pulled and is suing Maine over their continuing to allow men and women's sports. So right now, we're pulling their funding. So right now, over the past 10 years, they have averaged $250 million in federal funding for education in Maine. So I want to give you some actual facts right here because this is from the Rapid Response 47 team of the United States White House. Maine State Representative at Laura Libby says that Maine students, when you look at the 4th and 8th grade test results, only a quarter of the students are proficient. Perhaps government Janet Mills should focus more on education and less on boys being able to play in girls' sports. Guys, this is what we're dealing with. Gene Kopich, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said, I'm a God-loving, Bible-toting, gun-clean, MAGA American. Let's go. Y'all show Gene some love in the chat. Guys, let me tell you this. I've got something to show you. If this is anything, this is going to rock the United States. This is going to change everything, guys. Right here with what I'm about to show you. Check this out.
We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time. This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir, but the compliance with national election day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
Boom, baby. Guys, that is security, because let me tell you this. I'm so fed up with Congress right now, guys. It's like if Trump doesn't sign an executive order, nothing's getting done. Right now, as Congress is on a 2-week vacation, we have highly conflicted and corrupt judges threatening Trump's administration officials with criminal contempt. I told you guys, they're trying to put Trump's officials in jail right now. It would be nice if we had a GOP that was worth its salt. They are willingly letting rogue judicial off the hook. So Congress, Mike Johnson, all of them people, they decide, he, as a leader, hey guys, we're going to take a 2-week vacation. Let's go. Let's just take a 2-week vacation. Trump's still working. His cabinet is still working, trying to fight off all this lawfare. Guys, this makes me, that's why I think we need a replacement as the Speaker of the House. Let me know your thoughts in the chat, in the comments, guys, because this is just, it's really irking me that they're on vacation for 2 weeks and we're over here trying to help push, support our president and his agenda to make America great again. Warrior Woman for JC, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. So Exodus 14:14, the Lord shall fight for you and ye shall hold your peace. Amen. But guys, right here, what I love is because, again, too, we're on a Make America Great movement, and we're actually seeing a lot of movement in what's happening, and I get to report it right here, guys. Check this out.
Trump's second term, and the Make America Great Again movement is growing rapidly. Baby, it's bigger than ever. Despite all the complaining, blocking, and tackling, destruction, really, the left is throwing at it. It keeps picking up steam because they can't stop what is right, what is moral, what is America first, and really what is common sense, everybody. President Trump at the Oval Office.
We're run by, and I don't say conservative, I don't say anything, we're run by people with great common sense.
Common sense.
It's all common sense. It's not liberal conservative, it's common sense.
Now, the reason I'm talking about this tonight is a new poll came out from NBC News, and you know it had to kill this network to publish this. It shows overall, with all voters, regardless of which side you're registered with, there is MAGA growth. 36% of registered voters identified themselves as MAGA supporters.
Guys, look at the growth trend, guys. Again, what I love is that as we're seeing that people don't care anymore about the Democrat or the independent, they just care about America. This is an NBC poll that says, you know what? MAGA, Make America Great Again. What's so bad about that? What's so bad about putting America first? That's what people are saying. Let me know your thoughts. Are you MAGA? Let's go. Alice Guerrero, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son. Amen. Let's go. Y'all show Alice some love in the chat. Guys, I love seeing these numbers, and I promise in the next 4 years, that's going to be over 50% easily. Let me know your thoughts.
That is up 27% from the same poll taken last year, and we're only 4 months in. A 9% jump in a matter of months is pretty significant, I would say. Now, the big shift comes from Republicans, obviously. Get this, though, 71% of GOP voters consider themselves MAGA at this point. That is up from just 55% right before the presidential election. And I think it's a combination of a variety of things. Number one, promises made, promises kept, everybody. That's what stands out the most. You voted for the president's agenda, and now you're getting it. Also, though, it's this. The Democrats have really, after the election, after the fact, shown the country who they really are. The issues that they're fighting for, open borders, and preventing deportations of gang members.
Oh, my goodness. Guys, look at this. Does this not blow your mind right now? That this is the caravans and caravans of people that came into our country unvetted. No idea if they were terrorists or not. We only found out after the fact. This is what Democrats are trying to defend.
Men in women's sports, and also resisting President Trump's mandate to fix the trade deficits we face all around the world, fighting for the working class. And I think that might be the biggest one at this point, because President Trump and company, they have already fixed the border. The numbers are way down. But Democrats don't get that because they have abandoned that part of the country, or the new, younger Democrats have never even been to that part of the country to even know what's going on. They are absolutely clueless, like in AOC. Living high and mighty on the coasts, educated at crazy Ivy League schools, white-collar work in Democrat-run cities where the 1% rolls and everyone else is struggling to get by. That is their vision for this country. It is called dystopian. They have abandoned the middle class. Heck, even Sean Fain, the president of the UAW and someone who backed Biden, is in favor of what Trump is doing with tariffs here. Let's listen.
Let's go.
We've been very clear. We do believe, and we know, when it comes to auto, when it comes to heavy truck and agricultural implement, we know that tariffs will influence these companies to do the right thing and reinvest in this country and reinvest in factories in this country.
You know, I would invite some of those liberal anchors to travel to the towns of the forgotten people of America, like maybe where I'm from, Western Pennsylvania, and then maybe they would get it. Those people who claim...
Guys, this is literally a Democratic voter. This is literally a person who's on the left, but says, you know what? You got to give it to Trump. He's actually doing something right.
To tell you that they know better, have never left their coastal elite bubble, and really, they have no idea what they're talking about. They wanted to be on TV. I want to be famous. I'm going to post pictures of myself on Instagram. Look at me, everybody. That's really why all these people got into this game. And I want to bring this up. I grew up near a town called Brownsville, Pennsylvania. Just left an impression on me going there and seeing it. This is what it looks like now. This is like a decade ago. It's a ghost town. You can see there is nothing left. And there are plenty of other towns on the brink of that all around this country, thanks to junk policies that President Trump is trying to fix. And yes, in my opinion, it is worth trying to right that ship. This is what people voted for. And when it comes to the tariffs, I want to say this. Towns, they didn't go under overnight. It took decades. You've all witnessed it. Watching sales in those factories decline, layoffs begin to happen, and eventually the factories, they went on, they closed. The only problem is many of the products they make, they didn't go defunct. You still wear clothes, right? Production of them, they just went overseas. This is a reckoning that has been in the works for years. Many politicians before President Trump talked about doing something about it, but he had the guts to tackle this, fixing things and restarting that revival, everybody. It's going to take some time. So just give it some time, hang with it.
Guys, let me tell you, if we are not seeing day by day by day the success, the accountability, Trump not backing down, we're seeing the actual, I'm telling you, like, I love seeing this accountability right here. Because if our Trump's people do not do what they say they're going to do, guys, I'm telling you, this will change everything. Listen to this.
Today, the Department of Justice is announcing a civil lawsuit against the Maine Department of Education. The state of Maine is discriminating against women by failing to protect women in women's sports. Pretty basic stuff. This is a violation of Title IX. The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports. This is about sports. This is also about these young women's personal safety.
Guys, there it is. We're seeing the lawsuits come through. We're finally seeing that, dang it, I want to see somebody be put in jail that has committed fraud or did something criminal. Guys, I don't know about you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because it's like we've waited for so long for accountability, and I feel like we still haven't seen it, and what the heck is going on? Let me know your thoughts in the comments in the chat. Check this out.
The results are in.
I took my cognitive exam as part of my physical exam, and I got the highest mark. And one of the doctors said, "Sir, I've never seen anybody get that kind of, that was the highest mark." They said to me, "Sir, would you like to take a cognitive test?" I said, "Did Biden take one?" "No." "Did anybody take one?" "No, not too many people took them." I said, what about Obama? Did he take one?" "No, he didn't take one either." I said, "Let me be the only one to take one." But I've actually taken them 3 times already. I like taking them because they're not too tough for me to take.
When you're reordering the world economy, it helps to be mentally sharp. We're in negotiations with 130 countries, and the deals are rolling in.
I think that we've got more than 10 deals where there's very, very good, amazing offers made to the U.S. The one question that I have open in my mind is, should we go one at a time, or should we announce a bundle all at once, because we have so much progress made so quickly?
Trump gave the country some medicine, and the economy is already starting to feel better. But the tariff doctor's scribbling on his prescription pad again. More medicines on the way.
We don't make our own drugs anymore. The drug companies are in Ireland, and they're in lots of other places, China. And all I have to do is impose a tariff. The higher the tariff, the faster they come.
We learned during COVID that when supply chains shut down, it's nice to produce the essentials in-house.
Let's go.
We can't trust China and don't want to rely on anybody else to make our drugs. Same goes with chips. Everything's run with computers now. We want those made here. And if you're a smart company, you'll pull out your checkbook. NVIDIA just announced it's going to invest $500 billion here in America. And on the same day, one of the biggest tech companies in the world says Americans will be building supercomputers in Texas. The lady who cooked up Bidenomics says manufacturing's just a pipe dream.
I don't understand the rationale for the tariffs. Perhaps it's to bring back American manufacturing, but I really think that's a pipe dream and not something that is likely to be accomplished. And we could even raise questions about whether or not, in a broad-based way, that's a desirable goal.
Bringing back manufacturing is only a pipe dream if the president's brain dead. Trump passed his cognitive test with flying colors, yelling, "Things always get rocky before the results come in. We know. Nobody has all the answers because this has never happened before. We used to be the world's manufacturing powerhouse until D.C. sold out our working class for cheap Chinese labor. Tariffs can unwind years of bad deals.
Yes.
Americans want to reindustrialize. 25% say they'd leave their jobs to go work in a factory. Trump's not going to let the American dream die. It's now or never.
If we don't try this, though, then I think it's a wrap. On this tour, this comedy tour, we've been to probably the top 200 cities, like size-wise, in America, maybe even more than that. And a lot of them, there's nothing there.
Yes.
It's empty downtowns.
Oh, yeah. It's set, boarded up.
There's nothing coming that's going to make that different.
Trump has an opportunity to create a world we've never seen, one he's dreamed about since the 80s. There's an open door to form a military and trade alliance from scratch. If you play ball, you're in. But if you play games or side with China, bye-bye. This isn't going to be pretty. China wants to fight, and they fight dirty. They're hoarding rare minerals to try to kneecap tech production, and they're going to try to sneak their cheap junk through the back door into America. We can't let it happen. China's a threat. They lie, cheat, and steal, and infect us with viruses. We need this to go this way. We created China, and we can destroy them.
Guys, I'm telling you, check this out right here. So today, Trump posted, he's been on a whirlwind, guys. He's been on fire today. He said the United States is taking in record numbers in tariffs with the cost of almost all products going down, including gasoline, groceries, and just about everything else. Likewise, inflation is down. Promises made, promises kept, baby. That's what it's all about. And he's even raised tariffs to the point where right now we have 125% reciprocal tariff, a 20% fentanyl-related tariff, and a Section 301 tariff on targeted goods ranging from 7.5% to 100%. So in some certain cases, there is a 245% tariff if everything lines up. But the thing about it is that we want to make sure that we get fair trade, guys. We get fair trade. And one of the things, too, is that as we continue to look at the taxes, guys, because to me, that's going to be the biggest one. That's what's going to help us win the midterms, is no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, and no tax on tips, and no tax on anybody making $150,000 or less. And this is where it all comes from, guys. Check this out.
Having taxes withheld from my paycheck all year, I have to pay more taxes. After paying tolls to drive on roads that I'm already taxed to drive on, with a car that I was taxed to buy from the money that I was already taxed on, that the vehicle is then taxed every year again to own, with another tax to keep it registered, that I park in a driveway at my home that I'm taxed on every year with property taxes, in a town that charges me more taxes, in a state that also taxes me. After I just got done working for the first 4 months of the year for free just to pay the federal government to not go to jail. Just to be told today by some bureaucrat that my taxes pay the salary of, by the way, that I owe more in taxes. It's just as bad. Like, the same thing. It's like my daughter's cheerleading tournament this weekend. This whole thing was held in a high school, our town high school, that I pay taxes to maintain. I pay her monthly cheerleading fees so she can go to the training camp, of which billed me again for a competition fee for her to compete. And then when I showed up at the door to watch her 90-second routine, I had to pay $25 again to get in there. Just like the government. The only thing worse about the government is the money doesn't go to my daughter. It goes to a bunch of other stuff that probably zero of these anybody actually would pay for willingly out of their own pocket. Some of these things Doge is finding is incredible. Tens of millions of people that are receiving government benefits that I can say with 100% certainty are dead. I mean, don't even get me started on the illegal immigrants.
Guys, you hear that? Tens of millions of people receiving government benefits. They're not even alive. You want to talk about fraud? You want to talk about, I just want to see somebody being held accountable. I just want to see somebody, let me know your thoughts, put it in the chat, put it in the comments. I want to see somebody stand before Congress or stand before a judge and them say, look, we found evidence that, guess what? You were taking from Social Security and it's all fraud. It was stealing. You shouldn't have been doing that, and guess what? Here's some prison time. Because until somebody does it, they're not going to stop, guys. That's the worst part about it. And I know Elon Musk is trying to prevent this, but even with everything that you're seeing here, we have to have accountability.
I'll get to that in a sec. This is my problem with taxes. They are confiscating money from people like you and me who go to work. We sacrifice time with our families, are stressed, we're overwhelmed. For many folks, their backs hurt and their hands are chafed. Some of which put themselves in great danger every single day for their career to put food on the table for their family. And the government thinks they know how to spend that money that we earn better than we do.
Wow.
Oh, did I upset you? Hold my beer. Some unelected bureaucrat in some obscure agency like USAID. Honestly, how many of you honestly heard or knew about USAID before Elon started digging into it? Most of us probably didn't. The only reason I knew was because in Trump's first term, I was in charge of the grants in his administration. They're taking the money that some of you are risking your lives to earn to boost tourism in Egypt for $6 million.
Tourism in Egypt.
Rest assured, you're spending, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 hours away from your family a day to fork over half your paycheck for that, to fund a border wall in Oman, a gender studies program in Pakistan, $500K for electric buses in Rwanda, $750.
Guys, let me tell you this. I got to show you this because I'm telling you, we bring the receipts. This is from the expenditures on average from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Americans now spend more on taxes than food and clothing combined. Taxation is theft. This is what they're putting out. Look at this. On average, Americans spend over $10,000 a year on taxes compared to food and clothing. If this, to me, is not putting Americans down, and what do we get out of it? We get, guess what? People who get to say $6 million to Egypt, $20 million to Iraq. Like, this is what bothers me, is that we have no accountability whatsoever.
$50K for reducing xenophobia in Venezuela. That's a great investment. $3 million for a children's television program in Iraq. I mean, who knows? Here in America, that money they're taking from you could be that you could be using to pay off anything, mortgage, college tuition for your children, whatever, could be instead actually being used to pay for 8 charging stations that cost $8 billion. If you live in California, the 11% you pay in state taxes after federal taxes might have gone to an $11 billion bridge to absolutely nowhere, or pay the $12 billion environmental and feasibility study for a train track that was never built. Maybe if you live in rural America and you're struggling to make ends meet, don't worry. Some of the money the G-Man has confiscated from you against your will probably went to the $42 billion they doled out on broadband internet for your community that never came. For any community.
$42 billion spent on broadband and nobody got internet. Guys, you see the corruption? Like, is this not apparent? This, to me, is the worst of the worst of the worst. And these people need to be held accountable.
And what's worse, that money you pay in taxes that is supposed to be funding roads barely actually goes to the road itself. Most of it goes to the unions that build the road, that if something needs to change, are paid to stay home and do nothing while those tax dollars pay a new architect to change the plans that they paid for from the old architect. Oh, by the way, the contracts being paid to those unions include huge amounts of money, not even going to the worker itself, but rather to the union. Who then turn around and give it to Democrat politicians that fund things like NPR and PBS to run hit pieces on people like me and other Republicans for being mad about how our tax dollars are being spent.
Guys, is this not the dang truth of what we're dealing with? What's new? Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said American progress requires hard work. I support my president's agenda. Let's go. Y'all show what's new, some love in the chat. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers. Guys, thank you so much for your support. If you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family, guys, here on TrueLife News. We want you here. We want to serve you every day with the top news. And guys, this channel is all about bringing the truth. It's about being America first, and it's about helping and changing lives through our giving. When you're a member, when you give a super chat, we donate this to charity, guys, and it makes a huge difference, and we are changing lives. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much. But again, too, guys, I want to say this because it's already happened twice on the channel today. Carol Borsier, thank you so much. Welcome to the family. Y'all show Carol some love in the chat. TrueLife News will be a clean chat. We will not have people spamming. We will not have people coming in and doing personal attacks against anybody in the chat or against me. This is my channel that I'm choosing to serve you. And if you want to come on here and you want to start just calling out and repeatedly spamming the same message and the same message, instigating and trying to fight with people, that's not what we're about. We can talk about stuff, we can talk about our opinions, but we do not spam the chat. We want a clean, great place for us to come, enjoy ourselves. This is a family. We want America First policies. We want to make sure that we're doing what is right. We want to make sure that we're helping those in need. So whenever people come, guys, you saw it. I've already 2 people today out. No, not having it here. That's what you're going to get on this channel. A clean show from me. You're not going to hear it cussing from me. And I don't want cussing in the chat. I want a clean show. But I want to give some love, guys, to Mary Busby, Bruce McMillan, Celestino Marina, Jean Copage, Warrior Woman for JC, Alice Guerrero, Glow, What's New, Carol Borsier. Guys, show them some love in the chat. Appreciate y'all so much, guys. We got some big news coming out, but it's all, we're moving in the right direction, but dang it, guys. I see some things that are kind of trying to hinder us, but hopefully we can get things in check. I love you all. Appreciate you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.